Yes, he is.
We can dance if we want to, if we hope somebody will. Cause Republicans are rude and should be removed and act like they're imbeciles. I say, Malcolm Nance, Trump is under Putin's control. We can dance,
Yes.
we can dance while Stephanie dances with the pole.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, it's the Malcolm Nance, it's the Malcolm Nance. Well, it's the Malcolm Nance.
Oh, it's salty, salty Kremlin propaganda tears, Malcolm, being shed for Tucker Carlson.
Let me have a sip of those. They're delicious.
I mean, it really is obviously not surprising, but sort of still shocking. And that Lavrov is at the UN and brings it up unprompted, right? And insinuates that he was fired on orders from the U.S. government. He said perhaps it'd be useful to consider how things are with freedom of speech in the United States. I've heard Tucker Carlson has left Fox News. It's curious news. What is it related to? One can only guess, but clearly the wealth of views in the American information space has suffered as a result. Oh my God, right?
I swear to God, I am having a cup of hot Russian tears right now. And it's so good. It's bitter and hot like coffee, but much, much more delicious. Let me tell you, somebody wrote on Twitter this morning, they said, oh, Malcolm's going to be on. Is he going to be ranty, shouty, or schadenfreude delicious? And right now, let's start with schadenfreude delicious, shall we? This guy is literally out of the mouth of the foreign minister of Russia,
Yep.
is their propaganda voice in America.
Yeah.
And it has been shut down. All right. And not because of anything he said, the racism, the misogyny, the hatred, the, double love and kissing of Putin's, pasty white posterior. No, no, no. That's not why he went. All right. The Russians couldn't possibly fill in the gap of the 787 million reasons that Tucker Carlson was fired.
Yeah.
And he was fired because he was held accountable for his lies.
Yeah.
Not because of the lies themselves, but because someone put a dollar sign on those lies.
Yeah.
And I hope Smartmatic is on it next. If I was
Yeah.
Smartmatic, I would hold out for the full 2.6 billion.
Yep. Yep. I love Kremlin propagandists were in mourning. A lot of crying, gnashing of teeth, as they predicted on air that Tucker Carlson will be thrown in prison after his firing from Fox News. One of the hosts said, our beloved Tucker Carlson has been fired. It's a disgrace. It's a total outrage. He insinuated dark forces in America are out to get Carlson, noting his firing came a day before Joe Biden announced his run for re-election. And then they just said, Tucker, come work with us. So there it is.
I predicted it within minutes. I said, Tucker will be given an offer from Russia today, which he apparently had been working for free. So now let's see if Russia can go through their purses and come up with enough kopecks and rubles to actually buy Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
But the problem with Russia is they're cheap. Look, their tanks can't even stay together when we hit them. So what makes you think that a propagandist like Tucker Carlson won't say something that would make him take a long walk out of a tall building? But they can't afford him. Right now, Tucker Carlson will probably get out of this with a golden parachute, right? Which was they're negotiating right now. But, somebody wrote a brilliant article on Substack. I think it was Lucian Truscott, who said, this is just like, what's his name? God, I'm having a senior moment here. But Murdoch's last divorce from Jerry Hall, when he texted her sent her an email saying, sorry, this is not going to work out. I've got things to do.
Yeah.
When Murdoch cuts you off, he cuts you off completely.
Yeah,
Did it to Bill O'Reilly and everybody else.
Yep.
And I love that rumor that one of the reasons is because his ex-fiance loved Tucker. That was one of the final tipping points.
What?
I mean, gossip. I love it.
Wait, I need another sip.
Malcolm, I mean, it is interesting that, clearly it could have been partially Dominion, but I keep saying I think it's more what's coming, whether, as you said, Smartmatic, but also January 6th.
Right, Smartmatic.
You know, they were saying Fox famously didn't promote that January 6th special he did. You know, I mean, the whole thing is suspicious. The security tapes, Kevin
Right.
McCarthy gave him. What happens to those? I mean, I think that
Sure.
there's a lot more coming down the pipe. Not just Abby Grossman's suit, but I think, Jack Smith looking into January 6th. I mean, Glenn Kirshner said, yes, Fox could be liable for incitement about January 6th as well.
Well, we all know here that Fox could be held liable for it. Fox could be held liable for a lot of things, but there hasn't been a criminal charge that would send people to prison. And there certainly hasn't been a civil suit, asking for multi-billion dollars related to that. And I don't know how the families of the officers who committed suicide or who were injured that day don't have a class action lawsuit against Trump
Yeah.
and Fox News for $10 billion, right, in lost revenues, wages,
Yeah.
against Fox News. Look, the only way apparently you can get them to do anything is to take their money.
Yeah.
All right. And this would be a brilliant strategy, like the little old black lady who broke the Ku Klux Klan by getting a ruling that gave them every one of their properties nationwide. Fox News needs to be held to that level. So if there's some lawyers out there, I'd start looking into this. Maybe there's some money out there for you.
Yeah. Well, Malcolm, it's interesting. We were just playing these Ted Cruz tapes, and I mean, I gotta say, I am feeling very hopeful about Jack Smith because he has asked for these tapes. Because I said, as you keep saying, you got to go all the way up to the suits from the boots, right? You and Glenn Kirshner, I think, both use those terms. You can dress it up in whatever senatorial language you want. It is him on tape plotting a coup, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, actively espousing conspiracy, and this is one thing that you see Marjorie Taylor Greene and all the rest of them try to get up with, to say that this was part of their duties. It is not part of your duty, right? The speech and dissent clause of the House rules. It is not part of your duty to plot sedition against the United States, to a plot to place fraud by investing fraudulent electors into the process, to say that your goal, like Ted Cruz said earlier, your goal is to essentially nullify and stop the peaceful transition of power and decertify the election on January 6th. That is sedition. That is conspiracy.
Yeah,
and if Jack Smith is going to do something about it, let's start seeing those criminal charges.
Yeah.
We've had enough of the fact we're going to investigate. Yeah. See, this is the shouty, ranty Malcolm.
Yeah, here we go.
It's time to start holding people accountable. And if Grossman, who was ordered by Fox News, and they were coaching her to lie, to take the entire fall for Fox News, there's going to be other people in that chain of command. She has an assistant, right?
Yes.
She doesn't do the booking herself.
Right.
All these people don't talk to them themselves. There's got to be where Fox News needs to collapse because the entire supporting chain is not willing to lie for them. And we saw Trump will get average civilians and politicians to lie.
Yeah.
But for somebody who was just working in that building, general counsel comes to you, you better tell the truth this time.
Yeah, Abby Grossman had all sorts of delicious little things on Nicole Wallace yesterday. She talked about new rumors of an affair between Maria Bartiromo and Kevin McCarthy, which, you start to go, did he get blackmailed to give Tucker those J6 tapes? I mean, I just wonder how many other...
And where are those tapes? That's a core thing we have to know now, right?
Yeah.
This man no longer works for Fox News. And those are not his private property. They need to be returned to the people of the United States. Right?
Thank you.
Effing now.
Yeah, and so take a listen to this. This is Ted Cruz talking to Maria Bartiromo about... Okay, here we go.
Who's deciding who gets inaugurated? It would be the results of that commission and what they found. And if they found credible evidence of fraud that undermines confidence in the electoral results in any given state, they would report on that.
Yeah, he's talking. I wish that he would have gone. Is Kevin in bed with you? Ask Kevin if there can be a if there can be a commission. But he's talking nonsense, Malcolm. That's not in the Constitution. Did you hear what she said? Who decides who gets inaugurated? He said, "Oh, it would be this commission." No, that's not how we decide. Nope. It's like he can dress it up in all this lawyerly language. This is a coup he's talking about.
Right. And this goes to Karl Rove's old statement of while you're watching what we're doing, making history, we'll just do what we want and you can analyze it afterwards. That has been doctrinalized into the Republican Party. They will lie, they will cheat, they will attack the Constitution, they will make up their own excuses, and then they will support each other in those lies. And now we're at the point where money is talking and can't keep them out of it. Maria Bartiromo, I mean, if this rumor is fractionally true, the one question you got to ask is who else? She
Yeah.
went straight to the top of power.
Mm-hmm.
She would. Did you see some of her statements? They were nutty,
Yep.
Yeah.
nutty. Maybe she too will be held to account for costing Fox money.
Yeah.
And I still can't figure out why Sidney Powell is still allowed to practice law in any state, but she still does.
Yeah.
These people need to be held to financial account. Then I hope Smith starts looking into criminal liability.
Speaking of the law, Robert Reich, former labor secretary, wrote a piece using my favorite word, T word, and that would be treason.
Yeah.
He urged Secretary of State to refuse to put Trump's name on the 2024 ballot, saying Trump committed treason. He argues Trump violated the Constitution by participating in the insurrection. His reported attempts to pressure state officials to change their tallies to persuade Pence not to certify the election results. His calls for supporters to march on the Capitol were all examples of treason. He argues the 14th Amendment, that he should. I'm not a lawyer, Malcolm, but that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and this is where you need to get Glenn Kirshner up, and I will give you a preview of what they're going to say, which is treason is the only crime that is listed in the Constitution, requires the person work on behalf of a foreign enemy during a declared war.
Right.
Therefore, it is not treason. Rhetorically, I give you permission to say it all you want.
Is it treason?
What it
is it treason adjacent?
Sedition.
Okay.
14th Amendment of the Constitution, it is sedition, the overthrow and rebellion against the United States. And you know what? Until we get a conviction on this, or until we get enough people that give us the pathways to say Trump was the principal unindicted or fully indicted co-conspirator, you can't keep him off the ballot. But you know what can keep him off the ballot? You, every one of you, can keep him, at bay.
Yep.
And I don't think the Republican Party is going to cut ties with him, but you never know.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Malcolm, great stuff as usual. They're just the right combination of Shadowforlicious and Shouty, in my opinion.
You hit a happy medium.
Right. And there is a new Shadowfroy Delicious t-shirt available at StephanieMiller.com that you really should go get right now. Yeah. All right, love you, Malcolm Nance.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. 47 minutes after the hour.